Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm still reeling, no spoilers, but I'm still reeling from watching the finale of Succession last night. Surely one of the greatest TV shows that has ever been made. And if the writers of that show are not Cryptic Crossword fans, I will be astonished, because some of the dialogue, I mean, let's ignore the swear words, but some of the dialogue is so witty. I cannot. For those of you who haven't watched Succession, you must just watch it. But you can't make a tomlet without breaking some Gregs. It's one of the most brilliant pieces of language ever used in a TV show. And last night, again, no spoilers, but what was it? What is it, Shiv? The early bird catches the worm. I mean, it's just on point. Anyway, we're sort of doing a Succession-related puzzle today. This puzzle on screen is called The Tilted Crown, and it's by fritzdis. So we are going to be exploring who gets to wear the tilted crown, which is very much, I think, the crown that the winner of the Succession games would get to wear. And this puzzle's been recommended to us. Actually, it's an old puzzle, but we had Demono himself suggesting that we needed to take another look at this, because it is apparently brilliant. I zapped it off to the testers yesterday. One tester came back very quickly and said, yes, this is brilliant, and we should certainly cover it on the channel. And given my head is all about tilted crowns and successions, this seemed a good day to do it. So I will read you the rules to this one. They are weird. They're weird in a moment or two. What can I tell you about before then? A couple of things. We are closing in on the 1st of June, whereupon our patron reward is going to be the Planet Suite, a brand new Sudoku hunt from Cracking the Cryptic. So 6 of the planets have their own puzzle. You have to get through 5 of them in order to tackle Jupiter, which is the largest and most difficult puzzle at the end. Although I will tell you that the overall hunt, I think, is easier than some of the hunts that we do feature. So if you've been grappling with the Demono, or indeed if you find, say, the J Dire or the Fistamafel just a stretch too far, this one will be right up your street. We think we're going to get probably several thousand correct entries to this one, and what we plan to do with each Sudoku, we've sort of put a little fact that we know about that planet, a sort of interesting factoid, and we're going to read out the names and the facts of solutions that we get with really good facts about a planet. So that's going to be how we give some credit back to our patrons who solve the whole of the Planet Suite. And tomorrow we're going to reveal the winners of this month's reward, which is, of course, Demono's the Jewels of Osiris. So tune in tomorrow if you want to know more about May's reward. Now, any other news? Not much. I've got a couple of birthdays and a nice little announcement as well. So Caitlin, you've turned 28 today. Now, some of you, I mean, Caitlin's name, I'm not sure I'm allowed to mention it on the channel, to be honest, because it was Caitlin over in Minnesota who won the plushy hippo, which was in demand, let me tell you, and Caitlin won it. But Caitlin, happy birthday. I hope you have a brilliant day. Ignore those people on Cracking the Cryptic who are jealous, and eat a lot of chocolate cake. That's my recommendation. Also today, it's DJ's birthday, and I know this because DJ's wife Sarah has written to us. I think DJ online goes under the pseudonym Geekahedron. So you may know Geekahedron, who is a big fan of games, puzzles, and also apparently Cracking the Cryptic, which is something, DJ, we are delighted to hear. Happy birthday for today. And then finally, I'd like to mention Barbara, who very kindly wrote to us about her grandmother, who last year in October turned 100. And I was talking in a video recently about the fact that I knew we had 90-year-old viewers and how stunned I was by this, and I wondered whether we had any centurions who watched the channel. And Barbara mentioned that her grandmother indeed did. For the last couple of months of her life, she was 100. She unfortunately succumbed to COVID in December. And Barbara, we are very sorry for your loss. And thank you very much for taking the time to write to us and tell us that we did indeed have at least one viewer who had managed that fantastic grand old age. Isn't that amazing? Right, and with that, let us turn our attention to puzzle solving, and we'll have a look at the Tilted Crown and see what fritzdis, who has appeared on the channel before, always with clever puzzles. Well, I mean, almost everything we feature is clever. I mean, in fact, everything we feature is clever, so that is a bit tautologist. But anyway, let's have a look at the rules of this puzzle. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Then we've got minimal between lines today, which are very odd creatures. So digits on a line must be between the digits in the connected circles. The difference between the circle digits must be as small as allowed by normal Sudoku rules. For example, a circle in row 1, column 2. Actually, I can draw circles, can't I? Let's draw a circle. I've got purple up at the moment, apparently. So purple in row 1, column 2, connected with a straight line to a circle in row 5, column 6. I don't know if I can do it. Can I draw the line? Oh, I can, sort of. So imagine this was a line connecting these two purple circles. Would have a difference... Hang on. A circle... So the circles would have a difference of 2 because it is possible and necessary to repeat the same digit in all 3 spots along the line. Right, so I think what this is saying, if I understand correctly, is because normal Sudoku rules do not prevent these digits all being the same number, we can keep these the circles bounding the line as close together as we possibly can. So it would not be valid to say do this, because although the value of 5 is between 3 and 9, we need to make sure our sandwiches, if you like, our sandwich crusts are pushed as close together as we possibly can. So that is a weird rule. I don't think we've ever featured that on the channel before. But we have to basically minimize that. Right, so if this was a 1, what we're being told, I think, is that we have to put 2 and 3 here, and that has to be a 4. Because we must make sure that these between line values are as close together as we can. The difference between the circle digits must be as small as allowed. Yes, so actually that box is quite a good way of understanding the rule. Now, we've not finished there. We have clones today, so the grey 4x4 regions must contain the same digits in the same arrangements. So if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, we would immediately know that that's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well, because we have to have the same digit in the same arrangements. We've got skyscrapers. Oh, yes, okay, I did snip the chain bear animation for this. So I'll read the rule for skyscrapers and then we can look at the animation. So each digit n in the grid represents a building of height n. Numbers outside the grid indicate how many buildings can be seen from that direction in the row, with taller buildings blocking shorter buildings from being seen. Now, if that seems complicated, do not worry, because the fantastic YouTuber Chain Bear, who is a sort of absolute expert on Formula 1, a big YouTuber as well, made this animation for us. It's just fantastic, isn't it? So watch this. So, okay, so imagine that's saying, look at the row, and then it's ascribing heights to the values. So the highest building is the 9, the second highest building is the 8, etc. The smallest building is the 1, and it's saying, if we look at the grid from this direction, what would the skyscraper clue be? Well, let's see if we can work it out. We'd see the 2, we'd see the 4, we'd see the 5 poking out above the 4. The 1 and the 3 would be invisible because they're not big enough. The 7 we'd then see, and the 9. So I think this clue should be a 5. Yes. And then Chain Bear's animation will show us, if we look from the other side of the grid, what would the clue be from this side? And you just see the 8 and the 9, because the 8 obscures everything other than the 9, so it would be a 2 clue from this side. It's just, that's so useful, because if you've never seen skyscrapers before, that will, you know, it really crystallizes how they work. So we've just got 3 skyscraper clues outside the grid, all with the same value of 3. Now do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, having said that, how do we get cracking? Is it the clones, or is it... I want to say... Right, okay, let's just have a quick look at this digit. So if we put a 1 into this cell, what's that telling us about this line? And it's this cell that's, I think, going to be interesting, isn't it? Because this cell could certainly repeat along the line. Using normal Sudoku, it could be the same as this one. So I think that this circle has to be sort of 4 away, doesn't it? So because we could put 2, 3, 4 on the line, this could be a 3 or a 4, and then that would be a 5. So the gap between these two circles is 4. Because although there are 4 digits on the between line, one of those digits can repeat. Now, right, okay, so this is wrong. Actually, I was just looking at this saying, how can this possibly work? Okay. That's really interesting. That is really interesting. So I'm now going to claim I know the difference between these two circles. And that difference is, I think, 7. And what I'm thinking here is, let's just label, it's bad that I've used 1 here. Let me not use 1. Let me use a different digit. Let me use 4. If that's 4, and let's say we go upwards to this square. So we're going to say that this is hotter. This is a hotter digit than this one. And I think what I think is going to happen is this is not also a hot digit, because these squares would be 5, 6, 7. This would be 8. Now, can this be a hotter digit than 4? In other words, 5, 6 on the line, and this would be a 7. No. Because there are 4 digits there in box 1 that all have to be selected from the same 3 cells, and that necessitates one of these digits repeating. So this can't also be hot, and therefore it is colder than this digit. So in fact, we need this one to be sort of a temperate colour. Let's make it yellow. So orange is scorching. No, we'll make orange red. So this is scorching hot. Then it's sort of a little bit hot, and then this one is cold. But bear in mind this could be the other way round as well. So this could be hot, this could be very hot, this will be medium, and this will be cold. Anyway, okay, so now let's think about the numbers a bit more. So this is a middly digit. These are extreme digits, but I'm going to change the colours, because that's otherwise I'm going to get it in my head that this is definitely cold, and it might not be. But the crucial thing is, because these two are 4 apart, these two must be 3 apart, mustn't they? Because there are 2 digits in the middle. So overall, these 2 digits are 7 apart. And that means these 2 digits are 1, 2, 8, and 9. Because if this is 1, this would have to be 8, because we need at least 7 of gap. If this was 3, we can't make this 10. And right, okay, so now I do know the colours, because this square is prevented from being too hot by the skyscraper glue. If this was 8 or 9, this square, we wouldn't see 3 buildings, would we? We saw exactly that at the end of the skyscraper animation. Let's go here. There you go. An 8 at the start of a row always causes a skyscraper clue of 2. There is no ambiguity, and a 9 would always cause a skyscraper clue of 1. So the key is that this square is a 1 or a 2. It is cold, so this one is red. This is therefore hot. This, the middly digit, is now 2 different Well, it's 3 different from this digit. So if this is 1, that would be 2, 3, this would be 4. If this is 2, this is 3, 4, this would be 5. And now these digits are either 5, 6, 7 or 6, 7, 8. So this is 5, 6, 7 or 8. And we know this one repeats in one of those squares. Right, okay, I'm going to go completely ham on my colouring here. So that digit is in one of those 2 squares. We've got, look, we've got, that's in the clone. That's the first thing we've learnt. So that's that digit. That's red. And that is 8 or 9. Right, and we can get this digit at least narrowed down, and that's going to have some position in the clone, because 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on, I've just noticed something else. Those digits, these digits are the same. This is weird, because whatever they are, if this was 1, that's a 2, 3 pair, but that must be a 2, 3 pair as well, because that's how these minimal between lines work. So that digit is yellow. These 2 digits have to be absolutely the same. And that digit... Right, so how's this working? So these 2 digits are now green, one of which is on this line. And that digit is yellow, which is a 4 or a 5. And... Now I'm getting confused. So on this, oh no, okay, it's simple enough, right? Yeah, this is really interesting. So this cell is green, and we know that green is lower than yellow, isn't it? So that digit is lower than yellow. So that digit, which is the other side of the between line in this box, is higher than yellow. So that digit is 2, 3 or 4. Yeah, okay, so we should fill in all of this, I think. Because we know if this is 1, this is 2, 3. If this is 2, this is 3, 4. So this digit is 2, 3 or 4. And then we go, because on this between line, this cell is higher, we know on this between line, this is higher than green, which means that is higher than yellow. So if this was 2, 3, 4, 5, this is at least 6. Hang on. And it can't, I don't think it can be. It must only have 3 options. Oh, hang on. And now we've got another skyscraper clue. Hang on, let's just work this out. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So because we're using minimal differences, we know that this digit is exactly 4 apart from this digit. But look, if this was 8, the 3 clue is broken. So this is not 8, which means that is not 4. And if that is not 4... that's that one, so that's not 4. But I think this one could still be 4. Hang on. I think we're on the cusp of something interesting here. 3. So if this was 3, these would be 4, 5, 6. If this was 2, we could have a 3 in here, couldn't we? Right, so now I should just transpose these digits. So these 2 are 3, 4, 5 and 6. And that digit is 6 or 7. So again, look, we've got another... Yeah, so I can make this one orange, because this one seems to be slightly hotter than yellow, but not as hot as red. So I'm going to make that orange. And it is definitely, orange is definitely higher than that digit, because this, on this between line, this cell is clearly less than this cell. So on this between line, this is higher than this. So this is 7, 8 or 9. Oh, whoopsie. 7, 8 or 9. But that's not in the clone. Okay, so we might... It's just, and we don't get a skyscraper clue that to help us with this one. Let me just mull this over for a second or two. Can we do any better than this? If that's 7, these two are well, 7 would go 6, 5, 4, wouldn't it? So these are 3 apart. So this can't be 3 anymore, because we'd have to put 4, 5 and 6 on here to get to 7. Yeah, okay, so that's not 3 anymore, and that bounces back over here, so that's not 3 anymore. These two have got exactly the same profile as these. These have got to be 3 apart. So if this goes downwards, because if it went upwards, this would need to be 10. We'd have to go 7, 8, 9, and that would have to be 10. So this digit is lower than this digit, and therefore we can fill the options in for this square, which are 4, 5, and 6. Oh, of course, yes. Right, so now everything we did up here, sorry, it's totally obvious, isn't it? That when we were looking at this square, we worked out this had to be in the middle of the sequence, and one of these was high and one of these was low. Well, this must be the same. We've got because the geometry is exactly the same. This part of the crown is just a rotation of this part of the crown. So that means we must keep going lower. These two squares have to be 7 apart, and therefore that cannot be 7, and this must be 1 or 2. And therefore, and then this, okay, so if this was 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, that does work. But but hang on. We can't have this many options. That can't be 4. Oh, because 7's gone. Yeah, that's why. I was just thinking about that. So if this is 9, this is 8, 7, this is 6. If this is 8, this is 7, 6, this is 5. And then we've got the difference of 4 between these two digits. We've got a 1-2 pair in row 4, and we've got a clone cell here, which is diagonally opposite the 6, 7. I've got to be a bit careful here though, because my instinct is to try to colour more of these digits in. But I don't know. Okay, right, so how do we do that? I've got an 8-9 pair in this column as well. So I've got an 8-9 pair in column 6 and a 1-2 pair in row 4. And I've got 8 pencil marks in the clone and 8 pencil marks in the clone. Alright, that's the sort of thing I'm going to miss, isn't it? 1 in the top row is only in very few cells, 2 of which would be cloned. I suppose, yeah, okay, what I should do for good order is to pencil mark this line, shouldn't I? So if this is 5, this is 2, 3, 4. And that's 2, 3, 4. If this is 6, we can add 5 to the equation. So has that done anything for us? We've got an absolute plethora of pencil marks here. Mark would be over the moon. These two, I suppose, I also need to do the same thing again, don't I? So these are 6, 7, and 8. Can I pencil mark this one? Then we've got a fully pencil marked tilted crown. Oh, hang on. If this is down to 2 options, we can reduce this one as well. That can't be 4, can it? Because if this is 8, we can go... Before, we could have gone 7, 6, 5, 4, but now we can't because this can't be 7. Because these two needed to be 7 apart. So if this is 5, this is a 6, 7 pair. If this is 6, that can also be 8. But that one can't be 8 because that one can't be 8 on this line here. And that's all because for reasons I can't remember, this one's restricted. Oh, it's because it's that one. Right. So how do we fix this then? How do we know which of these... How does this disambiguate? It's probably the skyscrapers. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. This skyscraper is definitely by the time we're going to see this building, and we're going to see this building, and that cell's not a 9. So in this row, we need to be very careful. For example, this can't be the 9 in this row, because we will then... Well, unless that's the 8. Actually, I'm wrong. Sorry, that could be the 8. That would force this to be a 5. What about this? No, this one's useless. A sky. Well, it's useless at this point. Obviously, this blue thing's being seen. This looks interesting. This one, if that's a 7, then we know in this row that 8 has to be closer to the right than the 9. If it's a 6, there's more optionality. Okay, that cell can't be a 9. Yeah, this can't be a 9, because this cell is definitely smaller than this one. So we'd see 1 skyscraper, 2 skyscrapers. So in this box, the 9 is in one of 3 places. And is it true to say, and it might not be, so forgive me if I'm about to say something silly, but is it true to say that if I literally start the crown at this position with a 1, it would go all the way along the crown. So this, if this was 1, you go 2, 3, 4 here, you go 5 here, you go 6, 7, you go 8, then you go 6, 7, 5. Oh no, it's not true. Yeah, in my brain, I'd equated... Oh, yes, okay. 4, 1, 4. Ah, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Right. I've got something here. So, the point is, those 3 cells they cannot be the same digits. Because although it looks at first blush, what colour can I use for this? Nothing. I've used all the good ones. No. I'll just make these cells light green for a moment. Because these cells by the clone are those cells. So they all have to be different, because in this box they can't be the same. So if I do make this a 5, which is what happens if I make this a 1, if I make that a 5, that becomes a 4. But that forces, that allows us to complete looping round the crown. That cell is then actually linked to that cell. And the problem is that that cell and that cell have the same value. Let me show you. If this is 1, you get 2, 3, 4, 5. This is now 8, and this is now 5. But this 5, this can't be 5, because that's 5 in the clone. So that's forced to be 4. So this now is 4. 2, 3, this is 1. This is 4, which means this is 5, 6, 7, and this is also 8, and you've got 2 8s. So we've got to be very careful here. But well, this is great. This is great, isn't it? Because that's what happened when this was a 1. So this is a 2, which means these cannot have 2 on their between line. This has to be 6. This has to be 9. These have to be not 6. This has to be 8. Now with 9, yeah, you see I can see how this works, because this digit now is going to be a 6 because of the minimal between lines. So that's going to be an 8. But the crucial thing is, look, this is not impacting upon this value. So this can't be 6 now. This is 6 by the clone. But we're not forced to put 5 into this square. If we were forced to put 5 into it, that would be 2, that would be 5, and that would have had to be a 9. Which it clearly cannot be by Sudoku. So in fact, look, we can take all of the 8s out of there. 5, 6, 7 allows this to be 4. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 2, 3 pair, which means this is 4 by minimal between lines. We've now got 4 here. These all have to be in a sequence, don't they? That's sort of the implication of this rule. So we're going to get 4, 5, 6 here. We're going to frame that with 3 and 7. That square's become a naked single 2, apparently. I don't know how that's happened. But look, this is all in the clones. This becomes 3, 2. That's red, so that becomes 8. Oh my goodness me. We are suddenly... I haven't used this expression for a while, but we are cooking with gas here. Oh, don't stop there. Right, I've got 8 digits in my clone. Oh, I've got a 2 there. That's in the clone. I've now got 9 digits in this clone and only 8 up here. So I should be able to get it. Oh, I can get the 8 by the clonage here. I've now got 4 8s looking at the middle box of the grid, look. So by my reckoning, that's an 8, which is in the clone. So that's an 8. So now I've got 9 looking down here. And that's in the clone, isn't it? So there's a 9 in one of those 2 squares. So there's now a 9 in one of these 2 squares by clone logic. Oh, this is so clever. Oh, I've got to spot something else, something Sudoku-y. That's not so clever, but I'm going to do it. No, the clever thing I noticed was this skyscraper clue. Now look, that's a 7. So I need to see the 8 and I need to see the 9. Well, where can I put the 8 so I can see it? I mustn't have it later on in this row than the 9, and it can't be in any of those cells. So it's got to be there, and that's got to be the 9, and that's the only way we can achieve a skyscraper clue of 3 here. Now, now there's basically 4 8s looking at this box, so that's an 8. What do we need? 1, 2, and 9 into box number 3. I don't know if we can get rid of 2. We're not going to get a 3. Oh no, we're not. We can't get a 3 in the corner today. There's no 3s in the corner, I'm afraid. This square's... Oh, look. Where does 9 go in the top row? It can only go in the corner. So that's 9. That's 1. We can get rid of 9 from these 2 squares. That's in the clone, so we can put it in the clone. Let's keep it... right, now this square here is a 1 or a 2, so that square is a 1 or a 2 in the clone. It's a very unusual puzzle, this, but it's entertaining, and it's 2. That's got to be 1, that's got to be 2 in this column. That's in the clone, so that becomes a 2. This square's a 5, 6, or a 7. It's not a 5. Oh, look, where does 5 go in box 1? It's got to go here. So this is a 6, 7 pair. There's a 2 here, so the 2 and the 3 are done in green. These 2 squares have got to be 1 and 9, and the 9 here tells us the order. So 9 and 1 go into the grid. 3, 4, and 5 into these squares. This is a 1, that's in the clone, which is there. I don't know if we can do the 3, 4, and 5. We can get rid of 5 from here. This is now a 3, 4, or a 5. Let's check. No, we don't get anything. Oh, that square's a nick. How long has that been sitting there? Probably too long, sorry. Okay, that's a 5. It sees 6, 7, 8, 9 in its row. It sees 1, 2, 3, 4 in its column, so that's a 5. Not in the clone, though. So we need 6, 7, and 9 down here. That feels like it's probably resolved, but I can't see how. That's not 9. Oh, bobbins. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 along here. Where does 2 go in the bottom row? It seems to only have one position, and that's here. So that's a 2. So that's a 2. How many 2s have we got? Lots. All of them. This has got to be a 3 or a 4, because it can't be a 1. This is 1, 3 or 4. That can't be a 1, so the 1 in the bottom row is forced. 6 and 7 are disambiguated by this rather lovely 6 here. Maverick's now got a helicopter out in order to fly past the house. These are 3, 4 and 5. Oh, there's a... Right, look at that. That's a 3, 4, 5 triple in column 6. So we've not put 1, 6 and 7 into these squares. That's not 1. So this must be 3 or 4. I've got a 3, 4 pair out of nowhere in this column, so that's a 5. That's 5 down here. 3, 4, 5 triple in this row. There's strange things going on. So that's a 9. Oh, I was about to put a 9 there, but that could be a 9, so I need to be more careful. That's not 5. So I need... Oh, the 8 at the top. Yeah, that's just... I think it's just Sudoku. Now, 3 in this column has to go here. So this must be a 1, 4 pair, and we can do that. So 5 goes here, 4 goes here. So the repeated digit, look, on this between line was the 3, which is duplicated into that position. 6, 7, 9 here. Let's just pencil mark it. And that square's got to be known, hasn't it? That's a 5. So that's the 5 in column 6. There's a 3, 4 pair here. So these squares are 6, 7 and 9. Let's put that in. I feel I've done more pencil marks today than I ordinarily would do. 5 in this column is done. So this is 6, 7 or 9. Okay, right, so I probably should have focused on... Oh, goodness me, I really should have done. Look at skyscrapers. That can't be 6 or 7, because we'd see the 1, we'd see the 5, we'd see the 6 or the 7, and somewhere in the row we'd see the 9 here. So it wouldn't be a 3 clue, it would be at least a 4 clue. So that needs to be the 9, which means that's the 9, look, in box number 7. But also, I think we can do better than that. In this row, if this is 6 and this is 7, you'd see 1, 2, 3, 4 skyscrapers. So we need the 7 to precede the 6, which actually unwinds that sort of deadly pattern that was otherwise emerging. Now, this is not 9. This is not 9, so this needs to be 9. We've got a 1 here, so we can get rid of... Oh, 6, 7, 6, 7. This has become a 1. Oh, is it the clone? It is. The 6 here has got resolved. So that's going to give me that digit in the clone, which gives me a 7 alongside it. Oh, I could have done that from the clone. So that's 6, that's 7, that's 7, that's 6. And what do we get left with? 3. Oh, the 3 here. So the 4, the 3 in the clone, 3 in the clone, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4. Oh, getting attacked by a fly. And that, I think, is how to solve the puzzle. Isn't that beautiful? What an absolutely lovely metaphor for succession that was. And it was, I mean, it's a tilted crown both by design. And it's sort of, it tilts your logic on a bit of an axis as well. It's really strange. The minimal between line clue is incredibly powerful. And combining it with clones is really, really interesting because it allowed us to play... It just allows the ordering of the numbers to feed through in surprising ways. It's a really original puzzle, that. It's a bit different to some of the puzzles that we attempt on Cracking the Cryptic, but really, really interesting stuff, and that is what we're after. Look, let me just tidy up the pencil marking to some extent. I think that's probably not too far wrong what we've got there now. And I really enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.